This is Valley News Live at 6.
This afternoon, the Fargo Fire Department pulled a body from the river after responding to a water rescue call. FFD officials say they got the call at 2:23 p.m. this afternoon and were dispatched to the area of a cemetery at 2102 5th Street South. One fire crew went to the scene immediately while another launched a boat into the river near Dyke East. The crews later pulled the body from the water and turned it over to the Fargo Police Department. We reached out to Fargo PD for more information. We have yet to hear back. Stick with us on Valley News Live as those details become available. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I am Nishay Taylor. A GoFundMe page has been set up for the 14-year-old girl who was stabbed yesterday morning in the parking lot of a strip mall in Fargo. Fargo police say the teen was stabbed multiple times. She was found unconscious and bleeding at 4340 13th Avenue South near the Party City. A City of Fargo sanitation worker discovered the girl around 7 a.m. FPD arrested 23-year-old Arthur Prince Coley in connection with the stabbing. They say Coley has no permanent address and is being charged with attempted murder. And the teen's father told Valley News Live the medical staff is having a hard time with the swelling of her brain since she was deprived of oxygen. He also stated the next 72 hours will be crucial for the young girl. A link to the GoFundMe page will be posted on our website. Just click on this story. And it's been hot, 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 as Summer likes to say. What you got to tell us, Summer?
Yes, hot is an understatement. We have been breaking some records the last couple of days, and I'm sure it's no surprise that, again, we broke records. In Fargo, the record to beat was 95 degrees. That was set 82 years ago, back in 1939, and the unofficial high temperature for today, 99 degrees. The climate report came out at 5 o'clock, but we even climbed a degree after that, so we won't have the official record until the midnight climate report comes out. 95 was the record to be at the Grand Forks National Weather Service. That was set back in 1988, and they unofficially hit 100 degrees yet again today. We are looking at a high temperature 101 recorded in Jamestown today, 100 in Harvey, 100 down in Sisseton, kind of gets cut off on the map there, 91, a little cooler in Waskish, 92 in Baudette and Bemidji, 99 in Wadena. And even still, we are seeing some triple digits, 101 still in Jamestown. And we are looking quiet on radar right now, but we have some severe weather to talk about coming up in just a bit.
Yeah, it is too hot out there, even for animals. It's sad.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Summer. For the second night in a row, people gathered in the uptown neighborhood of Minneapolis to protest the death of Winston Smith. He was shot and killed by U.S. Marshals executing an arrest warrant on Thursday. Authorities were trying to take Smith into custody on that warrant. Officials say Smith wouldn't surrender and pulled out a gun. That's when task force members opened fire. Police say some protesters created a makeshift barricade blocking off roads and started a fire. Multiple arrests were made. This week's White House chat features President Biden talking to former President Obama discussing the Affordable Care Act. In the video, they announced that more than 31 million Americans have gained access to health care through the ACA. The two leaders tout the special enrollment period that was open during the pandemic, allowing more than 1.2 million more Americans to sign up.
It was built on a model that combined good ideas from Democrats and Republicans. You know, you and I have both had some tragic, illnesses in our families. We know what it's like emotionally, and that's compounded if a family, when somebody who they love deeply gets sick, is now also trying to figure out, how do I pay the bills? Can I get the best treatment? Am I gonna have to mortgage my house? Am I gonna have to drain all my retirement savings?
They also encouraged people who need health coverage to consider enrolling by August 15th. The Department of Justice will no longer seize reporters' records to investigate leaks from within the agency. A new statement released by the DOJ announced the change to its practice today. And part of the DOJ letter said, going forward, consistent with the president's direction, the Department of Justice will not seek compulsory legal process in leak investigations to obtain source information from members of the news media doing their jobs. The disclosure was the latest in a series of revelations about the Department of Justice secretly obtaining records from journalists to uncover leaks. Former President Trump's chief of staff reportedly pushed the Justice Department to investigate unproven election fraud claims. During Trump's last days in office, the New York Times reported today that Mark Meadows asked the DOJ to investigate conspiracy theories. According to the Times report, Meadows sent emails in late December and early January to the acting AG to look into election fraud claims. The emails to acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen are reported to have violated guidance that bars White House staff from contacting the DOJ. Meadows' conspiracy theories included the claim that signature match anomalies in Georgia's Fulton County were enough to flip the results for Trump. Russia's leader is brushing off the U.S. allegations that the most recent ransomware attack came from Russian hackers. Here's more on the story.
Well, Vladimir Putin sharply rejecting allegations that Russia is in any way implicated in the recent ransomware cyber attacks in the United States, describing them as nonsense, ridiculous and just hilarious. US officials say 2 recent attacks on a crucial US fuel pipeline and on a major meatpacking company were carried out by cyber criminals based in Russia and have called on the Kremlin to crack down. The suggestion, of course, being that the Russian authorities are currently allowing the cyber gangs to operate with impunity. President Putin made his remarks in an interview with Russian state television on the sidelines of the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum. Take a listen to what he had to say.
It's just ridiculous to blame Russia for this. I think that the relevant U.S. services should find out who the scammers are. Not Russia, for sure. For us to extort money from some company, we are not dealing with some chicken meat or beef. It's just hilarious.
Well, strong words there from the Russian leader, and they come less than 2 weeks before he's scheduled to meet the US President Joe Biden in a face-to-face summit in Geneva, Switzerland. Hacking and cyber warfare, just one of the fraught issues on the agenda, which is also likely to include sanctions, Russia's treatment of Kremlin critics, and military threats against its neighbours. President Putin says he hopes the meeting will be held in a positive manner, but that he does not expect any breakthrough in Russian-American relations. Matthew Chance, CNN.
A Delta flight from Los Angeles to Nashville was forced to divert to Albuquerque after a passenger reportedly attempted to breach the cockpit. A spokesperson at Albuquerque International said the flight landed around 2:20 yesterday. She said the suspect was detained by airport police and taken into custody. The unidentified passenger did not breach the cockpit and no one was injured. The FBI will investigate the incident. The flight went on to Nashville after the passenger was removed. A passenger plane went off the runway at Reagan National Airport near Washington, D.C. last night. A Frontier flight from Denver left the runway and eventually came to a stop in a grassy area. There were 151 passengers and 6 crew aboard the plane. According to the airport authority, passengers and crew left the plane using stairs down to the runway. There were no injuries reported, and an investigation into the incident is still underway. Today, a somber ceremony was held to mark the 40th anniversary of the beginning of the AIDS epidemic. Leaders, including Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, laid a wreath in remembrance of the 700,000 Americans lost to AIDS. It was one of several events planned to mark the anniversary of the first cases of AIDS reported in the United States. A 40-block panel of the AIDS memorial quilt was also displayed in the National AIDS Memorial Park in San Francisco. Long-term survivors of HIV were also honored today. While the nation continues to trend in the right direction with new COVID-19 infections, the CDC is stepping up its effort to get teens vaccinated. The number of young people between 12 and 17 getting hospitalized with COVID is on the rise.
A renewed push from the CDC trying to get teens vaccinated against COVID-19. The agency's head says she's deeply concerned with a rise in COVID hospitalizations among teens, which jumped between March and April. New variants and increased contact could be to blame.
As cases come down, people who are not vaccinated are more vulnerable. That is a product of more sticky variants and some relaxation of the actual mitigation measures, meaning we're putting kids into group activities but not wearing masks.
A new study showed in the first quarter nearly a third of 12 to 17-year-olds hospitalized with COVID were admitted to intensive care and 5% were put on a ventilator. But the study reported no deaths. Most of those young patients had underlying conditions. The Pfizer vaccine is now authorized for 12 to 15-year-olds.
I feel safer now.
Experts say severe COVID illness is still rare among children, but doctors recommend children not yet eligible to be vaccinated continue wearing masks indoors.
When we consider what happens in communities, especially those of lower income, where there is more crowding, we have unvaccinated people and many of them together, and this virus will continue to spread, so we will have more outbreaks.
While the CDC pushes for those over 12 to get the shot as soon as possible, the agency's head says much of the suffering from COVID-19 these days can be prevented. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
A local construction company was caught off guard recently when they discovered a snake was among their order from Texas. And SM Enterprises called upon the Critter Crazy Reptile and Exotic Rescue to help them out. The snake is called a Texas rat snake that has a similar look to that of a cottonmouth. Thankfully, rat snakes are not venomous, and according to Tasha Gorins, this is the first time in her 12 years that she has seen something like this happen.
Well, if you don't know anything about Texas, there's a lot of different species of snakes. So there's venomous snakes, non-venomous snakes, and so I had no idea what I was getting into in this phone call. The business owner is like, I am not a snake guy, so I need somebody to come and help and figure out what this is and help deal with it.
The Critter Crazy Reptile and Exotic Rescue is currently working on getting the snake named Houston back to Texas. Right now, they are looking for people that would be willing to possibly drive the snake down south. All right, later on Valley News Live at 6, United Airlines offers a vaccine incentive to its employees.
And ice cream melts in a matter of seconds in this type of weather. Enjoy it while it's cold and enjoy it fast, because the rest of tonight, blasted air conditioning temperature still in the 90s. We have thunderstorms on the horizon. Let you know when and where coming up.